Hey guys, I guess y'all wondering what happened to me. COVID got me. It caught me. It knocked me down for a couple weeks, but I'm back and feeling pretty good. Not quite 100% yet, so this video is going to be a little more of a talking video and less working. I haven't been to the shop in 3 weeks. I came out this morning to shoot this video, kind of bring y'all up to speed. Got a lot of parts in over those 3 weeks. The mail's still working, thank goodness, but I wasn't. So take it with a grain of salt. So last when we left off, we had the part one on the 84 200 ES Big Red shaft drive, high-low reverse. And so I did get it tore down before I got sick. Got it all the way tore down. Y'all saw it running. Taking it a little further since then, got the front end off of it. Got some parts in, which is going to help out for that. Kind of go over the parts with you and kind of tell you where we're going to put them and why, and the reasons why I got them. Again, this is a budget build. We are not going over the top with this. We may put some new tires on it. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Tires are kind of last for me. It's probably my favorite part, is putting tires on stuff. So, you know, getting to pick and figure out what kind of pattern you want and that kind of thing. But I got a video, we're gonna do one about tires, just tires, how to pick tires, how you use your tires, the differences between tires. There are a lot of differences, even within the same size. So we'll get to that on another video. But on this video, what we're doing is, I'll just kind of show you the table here. So I kind of laid the parts out for you, just to kind of see what we got going on. We got a new battery here. I use a lot of Caltrac parts. You know, it's probably an overseas company. I don't know where they are based out of. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them on eBay. I'll have links to everything in the description for you. So this is going to go on our Big Red. Got to have a battery. This is our Honda rebuild kit for our little mini bike. It comes with a needle, which is what we really needed, and because our needle was bent in that bike. So that's our rebuild kit for our little pit bike. But that's going to be a fun little project. We got to get that fixed and on the market late October, early November, to get it out in time for Christmas. So brakes, I buy just your basic replacement brakes, nothing special here. I get these again on the Amazon or on the eBay. The biggest difference with brakes, and you want to watch out for this when you're shopping, some companies are going to be $1 or $2 cheaper, but they will not include the springs. Be sure that whoever you purchase from has the springs. You see these don't have the water grooves. I don't know if the water grooves are worth the extra $5 or $10, you know, per brake shoe to get them. Factory didn't come with them, so I put these back in. It's a good factory replacement. But like I said, be sure to make sure that whoever you purchase from includes the springs. A lot of companies don't. This is the all balls kit for the replacement bearings. And so this again goes on our 200 ES build. And the reason we're doing that is because we're going to swap out the front end. There's your good part number. You can look that up, or you can follow the link in the description. So the factory bearings are individual ball bearings. And there's a race that sits here. Look, I've even got a spider web in here. I've been gone so long. There's a race that sits in here, and they're individual ball bearings. I think they're 16 or 18. And I promise you, when you take one of these apart, the bearings hit the floor. So it's easier just to replace the entire thing. This is about $30. I guess I should tell you what stuff costs. So batteries run you about $30 to $40. I get a couple of years out of them. It's not the most expensive battery on the market, but they do last, you know, a couple of years as long as you take care of them. The rebuild kit, I think, was about $15 or $20 for the actual Honda kit. Brake shoes are really cheap. You can get them from about $10 a set, so $10 a front. I think $12 for the rear. For these, again, they'll be in the link in the description. So for $25, you can put brakes on the front and back of your bike. The all balls kit, they run about $35. It's kind of expensive for bearings, but it does include the races, and you know, it's a kit. It fits, so it keeps you from having to fight with all the individual bearings, the ball bearings that fall out of the factory one. And most of these bikes, if they've got any use on them at all, you're going to be missing a ball bearing or two. So might as well just go ahead and bite the bullet and get those. It makes it makes the rebuild just a lot easier, and you know, time is money. I purchased the ATV oil. When you're doing, everybody asks what kind of oil to put in your bike. Whatever oil you choose, you need to make sure it's okay for wet clutches. That's the most important part, is that it is set up for a wet clutch. I don't care what brand it is. You get whatever you can afford or whatever you want, but if it's not made for wet clutches, you are going to have a problem. You see, this is semi-synthetic. I don't think that really necessarily matters, just as long as it's good for wet clutches. This oil, Amazon, I pick it up for about $6 a quart. Sometimes AutoZone you can find, there is I think Valvoline makes one, Lucas makes one. There's several out there that are ATV specific, and I've seen AutoZone carry them on sale for like $6 a quart. So when I see that, I generally pick up a couple of quarts. So always keep that in house. These are our replacement tubes for the mini bike. Remember, the mini bike came in, had 2 flat tires. So we picked these up. There's 2 in here, and that'll get that bike back up on the road and going. I think these were about $12. I went ahead and decided to get a new twist grip with actual grips and a cable. It's inexpensive Amazon stuff, and that's for the pit bike or the little Z50. They're all pretty much the same, so that's a pretty easy direct swap in there. Now this is something that a lot of guys, I don't have a part number here, but it'll be in the description. I purchased these in multiples, as you see. These are the crank seal. This is what causes the oil to leak out from your pull cord assembly. That's Chloe, if anybody's wondering what that noise is. This is your crank seal. These run $9 a piece, I believe. So I generally pick up a couple just to cut down on shipping. This is what keeps the oil from leaking around your crank, and then that oil builds up inside your pull rope assembly, and then you have a leak on your pull rope assembly side of your case on all of your 200, 185S's, and so forth, hardtails. These are the seals that go around your gear shifter. If you ever have a leak right where your gear shifter stem comes out, this is the seal that replaces that, and you change these externally. These are they're not easy to get to because they're in the bottom, you know, underneath you may want to take the foot peg off. Of course, you'd want to take the gear selector off to get to it, put the bike up on its side, not completely, but jack it up on one side. But this is that seal. You can use a pick tool and get the old one out, and then you can use a small piece of pipe, or even maybe a deep well socket if you have one of those, and then drive it into the side of the case. Excuse me. And so these aren't expensive at all. I think these are around $4 or $5 a piece. Again, I pick them up in multiples because you're going to need them all. So that is this. The 200 ES does have a leaky shaft seal, but so does the 85 200X. So really, I probably should have got some more of those because I go through them pretty quick. Most of these bikes, these are the main 2 seals, at least engine-wise, that are going to leak on your bike. They're not easy excuse me, they're not hard to change. They're not that expensive to do. It's just one of those things. It adds up. You look at all of the problems and it's a lot, but if you just take one problem at a time and go, okay, let me fix just the gear selector, and so you fix it for $5, and then you wait a month or so and you come back and you fix the next one. And so, in a little while, your bike will be good to go. These are replacement grips that they're not exactly close, the Honda grip, but they're close. If you, at a quick glance, most people wouldn't necessarily know. They do look a little different, but they're a nice grip. They're pretty comfortable. They're pretty tough. They last really well. Here's the thing about grips. There's 2 important things you need to know about grips. And I made this mistake early on. It's not a big deal, but when you purchase grips, a lot of grips come with a 27mm opening on one grip and a 24mm opening on the other. And what that's for is motorcycles. Motorcycles, the twist grip side is a little bit bigger in diameter. So what you want to make sure is when you look for handlebar grips, be sure that it's an ATV grip for 2 reasons. One, an ATV is going to have a thumb throttle just like our 3-wheelers do. And you're going to find that they have a 24-inch opening here, and that's what you're going to want on your handlebars. Then the second thing you're going to want to know is this crown here, this larger part that goes around. A lot of bikes, this is really proud. This is really big. It's about twice the size, and what you end up having to do, and it's kind of scary if you don't catch it, is when you put it on and your thumb throttle sits underneath the mechanism, it actually rubs here and it will actually go and then stick. Of course, that's giving it about half throttle. You move your thumb and the bike's still going. So what a lot of guys end up doing is they'll take a knife or a razor blade or something and they'll cut this lip down. And the reason that is because they got bicycle grips or they got motorcycle grips that don't fit properly. So get an ATV grip. A lot of times you can find these inexpensive ones with your pit bikes. They run a lot of these. You just got to make sure that whatever grip you get is the same diameter hole on both sides. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a grip that doesn't fit and it's the wrong size. So be sure that you have the right size grip openings. Be sure that your, I guess it would be your knuckle guard here is not so big that it rubs your thumb throttle. So that's important. So I picked those up in multiples as well. Here we have just some inexpensive fuel filters. Just buy them in a lot of tin. They're really cheap if you do buy them, you know, in groups like that. Again, Amazon has them. These, sometimes a lot of guys are running 2 of these on a rusty tank. I don't. I get the rust out of the tank. I saw a video the other day, a guy was like, "Ah, just leave the rust in there, run 2 filters." Well, it's going to get in your carburetor eventually, so I don't recommend that. There's a lot of different tricks on cleaning the tank, so do that. This is something new. I haven't done this before, at least not in a 3-wheeler application. We're going to try it. This is a pulse pump. If you don't know what a pulse pump is it takes the vacuum off of the engine and it causes a suction. So it will actually pull fuel from a tank that is lower than a carburetor. So it actually has to pull it uphill. This is just a replacement for a 27 horse Briggs & Stratton V-twin. I figure if it's strong enough to pull for a V-twin, enough fuel, I mean, then it'll certainly pull for a motorcycle engine or ATV. Carburetors, speaking of carburetors, these are the inexpensive. I buy them in bulk. I get, you know, 4 or 5 at a time. For $15, if you buy them in multiples, you can get them for as little as, I paid as little as $10 or $9 a piece for them. Are they as good as Honda? We've talked about this before. No, they are not. Do they work? Yes, they do. This is a PZ27. You can also get a PZ29. This carburetor here has the choke assembly on the side here for a cable. So this is the carburetor we're going to use on our 200 ES Big Red. You hit your cable would come down here, it would index here, just like the factory one. When you pull the choke cable, the choke comes up. Now, you get these carburetors in 2 different configurations. You can get a manual choke where you physically just flip the lever up and then that's choke, half choke, and then choke off. Or you can get the one that's cable activated. So those are the biggest 2 differences in these carburetors. One is set up for a manual choke and one is set up for an automatic or a cable operated choke, excuse me. So that's it. That's a table full, I gotta tell you, but that will get us up and running. The 200 ES, like I said, I've already tore it down before I got sick. I've knocked the races out. We're ready to go back with new races and the new bearings from All Balls. That'll be fine. The switch was bad, so I went out to the boneyard. I picked up another button with a good kill switch on it that's not locked up, or excuse me, a good button that's not acting up. This is an extra cage I had off of another Big Red. I gotta tell you, we did a video about parts bikes, and this is where that comes into play. We're taking 2 junk bikes and we were making one out of it. So this is our 84, this is the one with the Cobra pipe on it. This is the 200M front end here that came off of that $60 parts bike. It was just, I mean, a mess. So this is the front end that we're gonna use. Believe it or not, it does work. It does need to be rebuilt. It needs seals in it, but it functions. It seems to be straight. Everything is there. So I pulled it off, and as you see, I kept all the parts and everything together on the stem, so it's there, you know, to refer back to. This is the front end that actually came off another junk bike that I had, and the fender is just amazing on it. It really, really is in good shape. It's not busted up or anything. The cages and so forth, we could sandblast these, but I have the other rack that I just showed you, and I probably have another rack here. But what I want to use this for is I want to take the fender off of it, and I want to take the mounts. I'm going to cut the mounts off of it, and we're going to weld them onto the 200M front end. This is another fender here. in case we have to do any adapting. The color's a little better on this one. You know, it is what it is. We'll see. We'll see what which one ends up working out a little bit better. I would like the brighter red one, of course, everybody would, but I bet you that one would clean up with a little bit of waxing and a good scrub. I bet it would shine up really nice. A good way to judge a fender is this rubber mud flap. You look at it, you look at how it's used, if it's been cut, if it's rubbed the back of the tire or the front of the engine or the frame. That'll tell you if the front end's bent, and that's a good way to tell. It's the same, the guys that do the little 70 bikes, they, you know, that front fender tells them everything they want to know. If that front fender's rubbing the engine, then you know you got a bent frame or you got a bent set of forks. Same goes for the big bikes. So here's two sets of fenders. Come off of this one here actually came off the bike that we're talking about, the 84. You see how the sun's gotten some damage on this. I'm going to try to scuff that up, do a little sanding on it. It's got a busted hole here, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal with the rack on it. It's not that noticeable. So here's another set of fenders. Now these came off of a 200M. Keep in mind that you can use 200M fenders. There is a slight difference. You can make these work. If you look close here, and this is the only difference that I am aware of, this is the one that most people talk about. So here's your big difference. This is an 83 Big Red. It's a 200E. It's chain drive. It's got the high-low sub-transmission. If you look really close, you see how this fender comes down, it makes contact here and is connected to the fender. It's one smooth line for this entire triangle, okay? Here's the difference. You look at the 84, this comes down where the other one goes down and meets the fender. This one doesn't. It's been bobbed. And the reason it's bobbed right there, cut, is so it would clear the big sub-transmission here to give us our high-low in reverse. That fender actually bolts right here. This is where the bolt hole is. And it's the 200E fender, you have to cut it here to clear the sub-transmission. Other than that, they're exactly the same. So, if you find yourself in a situation where you need fenders for your 82, 83, 84 Big Red, 84, 85, 200M, you can use the fenders. You can make them work. And what I mean by that is just trim that little corner off. All the bolt holes line up. The moldings are the same. The stickers are different, but the fenders are the same. The trim is the same. It's the waffle pattern on top is the same. This little waffle pattern here, so you see here on, sorry about that, here on the top of the fender, same with this one. It's all the same. The only difference is that little bob cut off. So if you've got a buddy that's got a wreck bike that the fenders are good, and he was willing to sell you the fenders cheap, that's certainly a good option, and that opens up your options. Instead of being limited to only being able to look for 1 year only fenders, like say the 84, or a 2 year only fender like the 200E or the 200M. Now you have 82, 83, 84, 85 options. The 85 being, of course, the second year of the 200M. So that's a quick tip on your fenders and making them fit and where to find them. But we're getting there. And like I said, I'm sorry, this video is not a lot of work, it's just a lot of talk, but I'm still trying to get up and running, trying to get to 100%, and it's just taking me a lot longer than I thought it would. Getting out to the shop the first time, I had to get everything fired back up. I had to clean up a lot and beat all the spiders back. They had kind of moved in when I moved out. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. The channel's growing every day. We're well over 1,000 subscribers, so thank you very much for that. I hope you enjoy the content. I hope you enjoy the direction the channel's going. Next project for me, not so much three-wheeler wise, is the cleanup shop. It's time. We need to do some remodeling. We need to put up some more shelving. We need to get some of this stuff that I'm stepping and tripping over, get it picked up and put on shelves and a little bit more organized. Probably not going to make a video out of that, but look forward to having a nicer shop in the background coming soon. So look for that. And I'm going to cut this video off here. We'll go ahead and send it out. We'll kind of let you know where I've been. I haven't quit. I haven't given up. It's tough. it knocked me down a lot further than I've been in a long time, if ever. It's something that I do not want to do again. So if you haven't had COVID, do your best not to get it. If you have had it, take your time. It's going to be a little while before you get past it. So you know, stay positive, have a project, let the wheels turn in your mind when you're resting there in the house. Think about what your next move is going to be. Go ahead and get those parts ordered while you're waiting, and at least you can be moving forward in that respect. So thanks again for watching. I appreciate it, and y'all take care. Bye.